In 1984, the path to the World Chess Championship was a race to 6 wins. There were no points for draws. You simply had to be the first to crush your opponent 6 times. But after just 9 games, the 21-year-old challenger was on the verge of a total wipeout. He was trailing 4-0 against a reigning champion 12 years his senior. The visual contrast at the table was stark. On one side sat a reeling young prodigy. On the other, a hardened Soviet veteran, completely unshakable. Losing the first 2 matches had triggered a chain reaction. That initial blow to his confidence led to a hesitant style of play, which the champion exploited to take the next 2 games in rapid succession. On the world's most prestigious stage, a 4-0 deficit isn't a minor hurdle. It is a weight that makes every single move feel impossible, leading to the kind of cognitive paralysis where even a grandmaster begins to second-guess the most basic logic. The international press was unforgiving. Headlines began to circulate globally, questioning if the young challenger had the mental stamina to even be in the room, let alone win a world title. The external criticism became an internal monologue. The prodigy began to wonder if he wasted his youth on a game he wasn't truly built for. It reached a head when he approached his coach, prepared to formally forfeit the match and quit the sport entirely. High performers aren't immune to the urge to walk away. In fact, when the stakes are this high, the pressure often makes the exit door look more attractive than the board itself. His coach didn't offer any tactical adjustments. Instead, he forced the young man to answer 3 specific questions, pulling his focus away from the current disaster and back to his own history. The first question was about sacrifice. He had to look back to the age of 7 when his father passed away, and his mother became the primary architect of his relentless training. To ensure he never drifted into distraction, his mother had painted a single haunting challenge on his bedroom wall. If not you, then who? The second question forced him to confront his actual strength, an aggressive style relying on massive risks. Finally, his coach asked about his purpose. He wasn't there to just chase a score, but to create original solutions. Kasparov walked back to the table with a new resolve. He decided that he would no longer play for the title. He would play to express his true capability, regardless of whether he won or lost the next game. By moving his focus away from the outcome, he removed the primary source of his anxiety. This shift didn't make the match easier, but it changed the way he processed the intense pressure of the games ahead. The effect of this change was a sudden, immovable wall. The losses stopped as Kasparov held the champion to an unprecedented 17 consecutive draws. This chart shows the sheer scale of the endurance test. The championship transformed into a 5-month war of attrition spanning 48 games. Under the strain of daily calculation, both players' bodies began to break down, each losing 15 kilograms. A gap in resilience finally appeared. While the champion was hospitalized 3 times during the marathon, Kasparov, fueled by his renewed sense of purpose, stayed at the table. On the scoreboard, the momentum was shifting. Kasparov began to chip away at the lead, dragging the match from a hopeless 4-0 to a competitive 5-3. When 2 players are technically matched, the outcome shifts to the person who can sustain their focus under the most extreme conditions. Kasparov had found a way to endure the grind while his opponent was fading. The 1984 match came to a bizarre and unprecedented end. Concerned for the long-term health of both men, the International Chess Federation officially canceled the tournament before a winner could be crowned. When the championship resumed the following year, the momentum Kasparov had built through months of draws and grit carried him to the final victories. At 22 years old, Garry Kasparov became the youngest world chess champion in history. True champions are the individuals who, when paralyzed by the prospect of failure, return to the core purpose of their work. They choose to play to discover something new, finding the strength to endure when a simple victory is no longer enough to sustain them.